All right. Welcome, you loyal listeners, to another episode of Agents Influence Podcast Conversations with me, Jason Cass. And today I have Miss Kimi Donahue. And we are really looking forward to this because I know I am and I know you are. If you don't know it, she has her own podcast. Kimi, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And what is the name of your podcast?
I'll actually co-host it with Joe Hollier. It's called Metal Health. It's where we dissect metal music and talk about mental health and interview people, and it kind of goes
Wow.
a little bit all over the place, and it's a good time.
Wow, that sounds awesome. I mean, it really does. Mental health. Wow. My loyal listeners still know I talk about that a lot. That means a lot to me. The best way to put it is when mental health is medicated or not medicated, therapeutic, counseling, whenever it's put in check, however that should mean for you, it's actually a superpower. It
100%.
really,
Yeah.
it really truly is. It really truly is. So, anyways, okay, Kimmy, let's get on with this. Appreciate you joining us. I've kind of watched you out there on LinkedIn and other social sites dancing around, and I thought now was the time to get connected. And thank you very much for joining me. So, Kimmy, give me a couple things about you. You tell us a little bit about you, where you're born. Bring us forward to who you are now.
Oh, wow, where I was born. Yeah, we're going way back.
Hmm.
Back in 1988.
Really? Wow.
Yes, yeah. Same year that Metallica's "And Justice for All" album came out. So, if that makes anyone feel bad, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I was actually born in California. Both my
Okay.
parents are engineers, and they moved out to Tucson, Arizona. My dad was an entrepreneur, owned an engineering firm. So that's what actually brought me out to where I am now in Arizona. Um,
Gotcha. What part of Arizona?
Tucson.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Yep. So southern part of Arizona.
Correct.
And
Yes.
love it out here. It's known for the dry heat, and they definitely don't lie when they say that. We don't really have seasons out here. It's either coldish in the winter and really hot most of the time.
Right. And the coldish is not cold to the rest of America, but it's
Yeah.
coldish to
I mean, it
you,
can get
right?
down into the 30s, occasionally,
Oh,
but it's yeah, woo.
oh, hey.
But I'm a
Yeah, I
desert
think
girl
it's
for
getting down
sure.
to 30 tonight here. You know
Oh
what I
gosh.
mean? So, yeah.
I think it
So it's,
might be 50 degrees in the evening
yeah,
right now. It's glorious.
yeah. Well, it is. I'm moving to Florida in September.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to get, I'm not, the dry doesn't bother me. But the reason I was saying this, Kimmy, I was born in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
So
You know.
yeah, and I was raised there as a young age, but all my family still lives there,
Hmm.
north there, Tucson. But that dry heat, it's both ways, right? You come out here, you're drenching wet, just standing outside for 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But there, it's not, but you can't go outside because it's so hot
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
It's like a hair
Like that,
dryer in your face.
yeah, that sweat that we have here actually kind of keeps you a little cool,
Right.
so you can still go outside. So it's just how life is, right? It's a balance. Which one do you want to prefer?
Yeah.
You're right about that. So here
I
we are talking about the weather,
hmm
here on Agents Influence podcast. So Kimmy, so tell me what you do right now.
So at the moment, I am an agency success manager for Openly. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure a lot of you listeners have heard of them. Hence
Love
the
them. We
purple
use them.
hair, purple things. Yeah, everything's purple. And when I'm not doing insurance related stuff, I'm also a musician. So I actually sing in a couple different projects.
Heavy metal.
Actually, yes.
I
Fun
I
fact.
knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, I have an
Uh,
acoustic duo. We're a little more tame. We do some of the classic rock and, some of the
Do you
pop
ever do you
stuff.
ever get she's loyal listeners, if you're listening to it on the podcast, she's got long hair. Do you ever do like the headbang?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got to.
Oh God. Gotta see it one day.
Yeah, I haven't
Sounds
quite
awesome.
figured out the screams and things like that, but we get in it pretty good. So we actually we just announced it. I have a Iron Maiden and Judas Priest cover band called Iron Priestess. So you'll
Wow.
see some posts and more things about that here soon.
I am priestess. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Wow. I like it. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. So that's your side hobby. That's your alter ego.
absolutely. Yeah, I don't even know if it's even alter ego. It's me. It is me.
It's you. It's you. I love it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you
serious.
like
I love
metal, I assume, or Yeah.
Here's the deal. No, no cop out. I'll listen to any type of music. I
Cool.
love them all. If listening to my thing whenever at the end of the year when Spotify plays all my stuff, my friends will listen and they'll be like, damn, dude, you listen to all kinds of stuff. I was just in New Orleans. I love jazz. Do
Oh,
I
yeah.
like heavy metal? I have to be in that mood to like really want to kick somebody's fucking ass, I just really want to. And
Yeah.
Riza's listening to this, my editor. Yes, beep that out. I know she hates it when I do that. But it's the
I do
truth.
too. Yeah.
I need to be on a Red Bull. I'm on a Red Bull. I'm ready to go.
It's great for that. And for some people, it has the opposite effect. And that's what's really fun about the other podcast that I do with Joe is, sometimes people put that on to actually do the opposite, focus and relax. So it
Wow.
depends on how
That's
your brain's
amazing
fired
to
up,
me.
apparently.
That's amazing to me to
Yeah.
think that. Wow. Hey, everybody's different. You know what I mean?
That's
That's why we love
beautiful
this world.
thing
It's what
about
makes it
life.
great.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. But
So,
yes, that's what I do
so
when I'm not doing insurance related things.
when you're not doing it, and so how did you get? Okay, so how did you get to Openly?
Oh, great question. So I used to be an agency owner, produced through Openly. Absolutely love the product. Love, love, love it. Loved the easy use. I loved that, had great coverage. Obviously, I'm not doing it justice right now, but giving you
No, I
context
understand. I
into
understand.
what brought me over. It was actually great timing. There's timing to everything. I was actually in the middle of exiting a business partnership and openly happened to have a position in Arizona. And I'm like, you know what? I've never worked for a carrier before. I wanted to explore the insure tech side of it, and the timing was perfect. The people were awesome, and it was just like it was meant to
And
be.
you were an owner of the agency? Is that what you said, or just working in it?
Yes, yeah, I was the owner.
So you sold the agency to a
Hmm.
partner. How'd you get out of it?
That's exactly. Yep, yep. It was we had a business partnership. It was a split up, not a bad one. It's just
Hmm.
everyone does business a little bit differently, and
Absolutely.
with the openly opportunity, it just made sense.
And it is exciting. And you had a little bit, according to you, not me, a little bit of trouble trying to explain openly. And no, you didn't. The fact that you were explaining it the way you did, you know why? You can't explain it. When you talk about other insurance companies, the legacy companies, right? The ones that we all have in our agency, not hating on them,
Hmm.
but we also know their weaknesses and they know them too.
Sure.
Openly fills not only their weaknesses, but actually is starting to become a competitive advantage. I think there's a lot of these insure tech companies. I would like to call them indie tech because independent insurance agents use them. Imagine that.
Hmm.
So these indie tech carriers that we have out there, right now, the two that are innovating, that are growing, that are understanding our needs, I would say are, you don't have to agree or not, are Openly and Branch. Now that's what we see in our agency. I was just at Brain Share, and a lot of people have never heard Branch, and then come to find out they're not in their state, right?
Hmm.
So that may even be the same thing here. But those you guys have got it figured out. Some of the others, and we don't have to name them because I act like I'm downing them, but they have like one line of business, right? Or you have to do the service through the app,
Hmm.
right? And it's like, okay, guys, where you're going, we're gonna get there, but you can't come out with all this shit immediately for the consumer. I mean, you gotta ease up here a little bit, and the
100%.
agent.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kimmy?
I actually resonate with everything that you just said. The cool part about Openly, and I can actually test to this because I work for them. It was built by insurance people. There's a lot of insure tech companies that are technology, getting into the insurance space, and Openly is quite the opposite. It's insurance people getting into the tech space.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the people, even some of my peers come from the field, in production. Either they were agency owners themselves, like me, or people that produced, as producers. So it's people that have sat in the seat and understand what
Well said.
agents know and need. So that's what's really cool, about this side of it. And I think the other thing that you said was about getting into different products and stuff. So right now, Openly does just do home, with talking about bringing out auto eventually. But the
Yeah.
cool part about Openly is they do things. They're smart. They hired some
Mm-hmm.
really smart people. It
They
was
did.
founded by some really smart people. So it's just really cool to watch everything unfold.
Yeah, so many people that I talk to that use him, and we do as well here. I mean, we really do. And then I have been aware that you guys are going to roll more out to the package to kind of round it out. And obviously, that's coming because some of these carriers aren't, and they have no interest in doing that. They got their one line, but it isn't figured that it doesn't figure that openly. Who comes from that independent side would understand that importance. So that's great. So let's talk a little bit about when you were an agency owner. What exactly did you do at that agency?
Oh goodness, everything. And when I say that, it's because literally that was the name of the insurance company was Everything Insurance. When I
Wow.
first started the agency, I was trying to think of these clever names, about something that was special to me. Like before music, I actually used to be a competitive shooter, so I was doing three gun competitions, pistol, rifle, shotgun. So I thought, oh, I want to do
Wow.
something like the word precision. But that word's taken. It's there's no offense to anyone with that name. I love the name. So you guys took it before I did, or spot on or something. And there's actually a
Good
podcast, I
point.
believe, called Spot On Insurance Podcast. And I'm like, well, I can't take that. And when I was trying to think of a name, I didn't want it to be my name. I wanted it to be something that,
Mhm.
the team felt like they had a piece of it. They're helping build. And someone asked, well, what kind of insurance are you going to do? And I'm like, probably everything. And it was like, bing, the light bulb
Bing
went off.
bong.
That's what we called it. And, developed specialists within the agency. Because, I'm a big fan of, and a lot of us talk about it in this industry, the niche, finding your niche, right?
Mhm.
So while the agency did everything, different people, different producers ended up finding their niche, which was really cool to watch that happen too.
Hmm.
So yeah, as far as
That
my
is pretty
role,
cool.
I literally also did a little bit about everything. I'm sure any agents listening, when you a fresh startup coming from nothing and you're in the red for the first few months, you're everything. You are the janitor, you are producer, CSR, manager, CEO, whatever title you can throw out there, you're doing everything. And about a year into it, had a team of producers, ended up grabbing a great CSR around that same time too, and that's when everything it just exponentially started growing. Brought on business partnerships about 2 weeks before COVID happened, which honestly was probably the best thing that could have happened because they
Saved it.
had
Yeah.
they had systems and models in place that I didn't have.
Mhm.
I've always just kind of flown by the seat of my pants, which I know drives people crazy, but that's just how I know how to take action. So so some of my frustrations came from it felt like being slowed down, bringing on a business partner. It's like, oh, well, why can't we do this now? Why do you want to do it this way? But, hindsight's 2020 and the things I learned from that are you can't put a price tag on that. I just, learning about the systems and how to make decisions not based on emotion,
Mm.
things
Mhm.
like that.
Well said. No, well said. I'm just eating this up. I'm making some notes over here
Awesome.
because you talk about the frustrations that you had with a business partner,
Hmm.
and I was talking about this at BrainShare, yeah, last week, and that Travis and I have a phenomenal partnership. It's very unique. I don't know if many could replicate it. It's that intense. And the thing is, we didn't know at that point in time. But everybody I called, I would call them my people who I looked up to at that point in time. This is back in 2013, well, 2014. And I look back and they every one of them told me no. They're like, Jason, you already have something created. You're already going. You shouldn't do it. The only reason why I did, and maybe there were others, but his oldest brother, he's the youngest, and his oldest brother was a good friend of mine, like really good friend of mine in high school. I mean, I used to go around and Travis, he's like 10, 11 years younger than me. He was the guy who was running, the kid was running around in his diapers because I was like
Yeah.
14 at the time, right? So it was unique. So I wanted to take him and I knew he had been winning awards and stuff, but one of the things that made it so unique was Travis immediately always was like, "Hey, this is your baby. I'm the only reason why I'm wanting ownership is to know that someone's not going to do me wrong." He had heard the horror stories of people being told, and hey, you're promised this, but really doesn't come to fruition. That was something that happened to me. And then it just came to the point in time where Travis is the most supportive person, but like I think he likes this partnership just as much as I and depends on it because every one of his weaknesses is my strength. And
There you
every
go.
one of my weaknesses is his strength. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's eerie. Like, I mean, people like, I'm kind of like you, is my interpretation here of the fact that you're kind of high strung, like very go get it, do it, do it. He is too, but he's very calm, cool, and collective, right? As soon as we have two drinks, I start getting quiet, and all of a sudden he becomes the loud one. I mean,
Funny how that works.
the little things. I hate finances. That's his expertise.
Oh, great. Yeah.
He went to school for that. He hates the prospect. I love the prospect. So it's always been that, and so that's why it's hard for me sometimes to push and cheer on other people who have partnerships because I think a lot of times they don't work out, and it's not wrong of either person. It's just two people who are not working out.
It's yeah, it's definitely a difficult thing, and it's something I've been really digging into and trying to learn from others that do have, like yourself, a great partner.
Mhm.
What are the kind of qualities that you look for? And I think that's the hard piece is because everybody is so different. And
Mhm.
it's basically you're getting business married to somebody, and sometimes you
Mhm.
don't find out those things until 3, 4, 5 years, down the road, till you move in with them, right? So
That's right. That's
yeah,
right. It's exactly what it is.
yeah.
I tell my team all the time, a relationship is a relationship is a relationship. All the relationships are the same. The same that one that you have with your clients, that you have with your friends, that you even have with your significant other or spouse. That one, there tends to be a little bit more intimacy, but outside of that, they're all built on the same thing. They're all built on trust and mutual, like there's an understanding of where that
Mhm.
partner stands. And you brought up a good thing, Kimmy. One of the things that I think that the loyal listeners is what we call them, the loyal listeners can really take away from this is finding that person. I guess it is hard, but it's not. When you do your day-to-day job, what's the shit that just like you have to work like it's like your brain has to work 700 times harder because you're like, I just hate this shit.
Mhm.
You're just like Kimmy was. You're like, got all these hats on. You're like, I hate this shit. Write that down, right? That's the kind of partner you're looking for. You may not be perfect on everything, but those top three, which are going to make up probably 80% of the decisions you guys are trying to make, I think that's something that you could probably learn from. And actually, you could probably just ask also your significant other, your friends or family, like, what are my weaknesses? Because that's what you're looking for, right? That's what you're
100%.
really looking for, your
And there's
weaknesses.
there's a lot of great tools to help guide you through that stuff too, such as predictive index, personality assessments. Those are the way you answer the questions. It's so eerie how it tells you, hey, here's your areas of improvement is what I like to call them rather than
You're right
weaknesses
about
because
that, Kimmy.
we're not weak, right? Right, Jason? We're not weak people, but we have a
No.
lot of places where we can improve or just we don't enjoy, doing certain things. Kind of like you said, your partner is good at finances. That's definitely I didn't I can make a great spreadsheet, but I don't want to analyze it.
No.
So that's definitely would have been a quality of somebody that I would want to partner with. And I think another big piece that I learned throughout that whole experience was how to set expectations and
Ooh, that's
also how to
good.
give feedback to each other was the probably the biggest missing component I think there is. What's interesting is both me and the partner uh
Hmm.
we even coach on that stuff. We teach that, but to implement it in your own house, well, not house, but in your own internal
Hmm.
company, I think there was a little bit of disconnect there. And the other thing to remember is your expectations can change. So I think leave room for that too, is you can draft up this beautiful agreement and talk about this is how we're going to do things, that we're people, we're
Hmm.
dynamic, things change daily. So leave room for
And,
that.
and and I think if you have two people, you're also it's easy to find that balance because one's here plus here, one's you can kind of look at that. And I think the hardest part also is looking in the mirror, right?
Mhm.
It's actually realizing the finance side. Not only do I have to make my whole brain work 7 times harder, I'm not good at managing the money. I'm just not. And it just takes you to realize that. And then when the money starts rolling in, you start realizing quick, like, We need to get somebody who really can make these decisions. And here's the deal, making decisions are easy, but when it's hard for me to do it because I don't even want to do it and I have to go learn about doing it, it's just like this is what this guy went to school for. So
Yeah.
what are we making this difficult for, right? I have to be honest. As I said at the beginning, we got lucky. I didn't know this stuff. So I'm trying to, me and loyal listeners, Kimmy and I are trying to share with you, some, and I don't, and Kimmy was talking about this earlier. This is no bad on her other partner. I mean, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no,
And
we're
they're
actually
their own
friends.
person.
Yeah, for to this
Yeah,
day. That was the
yeah.
beautiful thing, the way everything worked out was yeah, we did it. We were good at having conversations, and having hard conversations. I think is the most important thing in any role. Whether
Hmm.
you are an agency owner or even if you're not, learning to have hard conversations both at work and in your personal lives, whether it's a romantic relationship or with friends, is huge. Um,
I
and I think
agree.
that's yeah. I coach a little bit on productivity too. And just like as a salesperson, Jason, you can relate to this, is you always tackle your hardest ones first. You get those
That's
out of
right.
the way.
Hmm.
Some people will even do role playing, and I think it's the same thing with having, your personal and business conversations, is get the hard ones out of the way first, and the rest of the day is easy.
I heard Billy Williams say last week, a very favorite friend of mine, he said, he told everybody in the crowd, he said, the reason why people in your office don't like to role play is because they know they can't bullshit you or their colleague like they can the customer. And I
Mm.
really, really thought that was well. And loyal listeners, you hearing me say that, that's true. And it's even hard for me, right? I get put up in front of a stage and they're asking me common things that I answer with my clients all the time. It's so hard when you're speaking with another insurance person. But then again, it's the good communication. And once you master that, then going back to the customer even becomes better. So sorry, I got sidetracked on that.
No, that's great. I could talk about role play all day long, but my favorite thing about it is it teaches you other perspectives. You think you've got a great script, and then you hear someone
mm,
say, even if you just walk away with one golden nugget, you're like, oh,
mm-hmm.
that was worth it. We actually just started implementing some of that over here at Openly, and I'm kind of helping pilot that. And it's true. Most people do not like role play strictly because of the feedback. So that was the thing that we actually attacked first, was how to give feedback to somebody.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
because a lot of people, one, either you're scared to give the critical,
Way to think
the
about that.
constructive feedback, and a lot of people don't want to hear it. So one of the things I actually learned from my business partnership was, my business partner would say, "Hey, Kimmy, on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you want me to give this to you? This piece of news." And for me, I'm usually a level 10. I'm like, "Hey, give it to me. I'll figure out how to handle it." But most people aren't like that. So it's very interesting to come across someone's like, "Oh, give it to me as a 2," and then trying to figure out how to structure your next move around that, has
Hmm.
been huge. And that's also, it's great to learn that with clients too, because same thing. If you're oh, here's a good one. What if you get a non-renewal notice, and now you got to call that client and tell them, "Hey, it's not you, it's the carrier. They don't want you." Learning how to have hard conversations like that, so that you're not
Hmm.
putting them off, and then everyone gets surprised and they're pissed off anyway. So role
Yeah, because
play
those conversations
all
are
day
going
long.
to occur.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Billy says you need to protect your staff, right? You're protecting them, you're giving them armor just by turning them loose. You're sticking them out there with no ammunition, no way to help. He said, not even that. It's there's no way for them to better the experience when they don't even know really truly what to say. And then what do? They just make shit up. What did we do when we were brand new? We'd be like, well, this,
Yeah,
you knew you
sure,
were
that's
right.
covered. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, if it came to that, you were like, well, let me call the company. But, billing, you're like, well, I think they take a credit card.
yeah,
So, I agree. And it is something that's really, really tough. You're right. We have jumped around on some great topics though. Really,
yeah.
really, truly have. So, Kimmy, any last things? I mean, wrapping up, I think now that, hundreds, if not thousands of people have got to know you a little bit better. Anything you want to say?
I think the big piece and the big highlight that we talked about was just being able to set expectations and have hard conversations. I think if we can leave everybody with that and
Mm.
even if you have to role play it with somebody, I'm sure either one of us here on this podcast are happy to do that. So reach out to either of us. Sorry, I'm not volunteering you.
She's
But
volunteering me,
yeah.
yes.
But seriously, yeah, if there's something I can help with, or if somebody does want to hop on a role play, I'm happy to be a partner to that. It's you learn something from each one.
Yeah. All right. I'll offer it too. Castcalendar.com,
There you go.
castcalendar.com. If you go to castcalendar.com, you'll see 20-minute meeting with Jason Cast. Click it and you can come on there. Castcalendar.com. So, Kimmy, your expectations and stuff, I think that's so important, not only because we need to set that with our families. We need to set that with our spouses. We also need to set that with our customers. I even talk about that a lot in the quoting process, whether it's commercial or personal lines, making sure you're setting those expectations because they don't know the process. You do, but they don't, right? And things go smoother that way. Kimmy, I also appreciate it. I want to give a shout out. Where can they find you? Tell them about the podcast and other things besides finding you at
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
absolutely. Well, the podcast is on Spotify. It's mental health. You can actually and you can find Joe or I on LinkedIn. And then you can find me on literally any of the social media platforms. I'm under my name, Kimiko Donahue, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Happy to connect. You'll probably see a lot more music related stuff on the socials.
I hope so. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So kudos to you. Openly's got a great one. All right.
Thank you.
I think there's so much that we can learn out there, loyal listeners, basically from what we just talked about. I mean, you could back it up and you could really think about it. The partner section is very, very big because a lot of people talk to me about that. And I really don't have any secret sauce other than just what I told you right there. And you probably got a lot more right there than most people do when I'm talking to them face to face. I think you just need to find that balance. You got to find it. But I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people, you already probably know that person. It's probably in between your ears. I mean, are you really willing to sacrifice, to give up part of the ownership, maybe to allow someone to have those discussions? If you want to talk more about it, go to castcalendar.com. You click on the 20-minute talk and I'll give you a call, or you can give me a call. This has been Jason Cass, where you know what I do because I do it for you. Tell me your thoughts and tell me your ideas, and I'm going to tell the world what you have to say. This has been Cass. She's Kimmy, and we are out.